Hey guys, Lady Liberty Stacker here. It is Sunday, December the 6th, 2020, and I'm back with you to show you what I picked up from a local auction that I won. But primarily, I want to show you guys just a quick video on things to be aware of if you actually happen to be bidding for local auctions. If you're looking for cast iron, especially, things to be aware of. Now this lot I recently bid on. There was another lot of a chicken, unmarked Griswold chicken fryer, and I was looking at that one, and that was a good skillet. It just went over my bottom line on that as to what I wanted to pay, because as you guys know, I sell a lot of these online, and I don't want to overpay for something, because I don't want to be forced to keep it if I really don't want to keep it. So anyway, if you're looking to get cast iron reasonably priced, in good condition, then there are a few things you need to know. Now this lot here had a few pictures. We have 3 skillets. This one, it had the reverse look like that, and from what it looked like to me, I could see Taiwan in the picture, so I figured it was a number 3 Taiwan, and that's exactly what this is. I wasn't bidding on it for this skillet, so it just kind of came with it. So we'll put that one to the side. I wanted these 2 skillets here, and they have small pour spouts, and this is what I saw on the back on the first one. You can see they're a 7P, and these aren't exactly even. You see a heat ring and small pour spouts. So this told me that it was a BS&R, Birmingham Stove and Range, Red Mountain Series. Red Mountain Series has this kind of markings on it. And most Birmingham Stove and Range or BS&R, they're not marked. Very, very rarely are they marked. There was one commemorative that was marked that I've seen an example of online, but I've never seen one in the wild. But I wanted this one because I found another one in the wild that was cracked a couple of years back. This one appears to be in good condition. I'll set that one to the side, and we'll show you how the listing read and what we actually have. Now this one here is slightly larger. And again, here's the handle. Oh, let's go back and show you the handle on this one. The handle is definitely Birmingham Stove and Range or BS&R. You have the ridge that goes all the way to the sidewall up here, and then it connects to like a 2-leveled teardrop handle. And that's how you tell a Birmingham Stove and Range, made down in Alabama. So I think it's Alabama. Anyway, this is a big one. And you flip it over on the back, you have the heat ring, and you have smaller font there. It says number 10, 12.5 inch. And I couldn't see that very well in the pictures, but I could see number 10. So I figured, okay, that looks like a BS&R Century series made in the 60s, because that says made in the USA. So I was able to identify them in the pictures, even though the pictures weren't that good. But I thought number 10s, large skillets like that always do well. It's not like a bolo, be on the lookout for, but these are nice bread and butter items. For people that want to buy them, they're reasonably priced. And people that, want to buy them to make money online like I will. I'll sell it at market value. I'm not sure what it goes for. Restored, I'm guessing 50 or more. I don't know. I have to do the comps on it, and comps can change. So anyway, I identified the skillets correctly, and one of the websites you guys want to go to if you're ever doing this, because a lot of these online auctions, they don't necessarily tell you what it is. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. You need to be able to get good at identifying what it is. It's castironcollector.com. I'll link it below in the description. But at any rate, we're going to check the quality of these. And we're going to start with the little one, the Taiwan one. This one, like I said, is a little number 3. It might be worth 10 to 15 bucks. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and strip it. It's poorly cast. You can see here it's a teardrop, sort of like a teardrop handle, but the iron overflowed, and so that's not clear. I mean, it's all solid in there. So that's a casting flaw, but it does sit flat. It doesn't really spin. Very, very little wobble. If you go like this, very little wobble, and it doesn't spin. So that'd be a nice little one to flip, and it'd be a great little burger pan for somebody. And it's dirty. I've got dirt on my hands. So no expectations for that one. And then the next one, and I inspected these and I went to pick them up, and I had to drive a little bit. I had to drive about an hour to get there, but I also got 2 great pans about 6 weeks ago there, and I made a nice profit on those for what I invested. And one was a Griswold, and one was I think it was a BS&R Red Mountain Series griddle. That was really nice. This one here is the number 7, but it's a spinner, and the listing said no cracks, no bows, like bowing. So I figured, okay, it's going to sit flat. I can deal with this. It said fair because of all the rust and the gunk. That should come off, no problem. I mean, again, there could be a crack there. I don't see anything. I really looked at it. That's a chance you take sometimes, though. You really try to get them without, but it happens to everybody. Sometimes there is a crack. I don't see anything on this one. But when I picked them up, I said, oh, I thought this had no bows. It does. It does have a wobble. So it's probably 5 business cards of a wobble. So you're talking maybe as much as 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch, or maybe 1/16 of an inch. It does have a wobble, but it's good for coiled electric, camping, and gas range. So I'll go ahead and strip it. But I'll tell you how I dealt with that situation. I went ahead and checked the larger one, the number 10, BS&R Century Series. This one sits perfectly flat, no wobble. And usually the larger ones like this would be more apt to have a bow in them instead of the smaller ones, but the smaller one is a little bit warped or have a bow in it. But this one doesn't move at all, no wobble, and it appeared to be fine as far as cracks go. And it had a lot of gunk in it. That's why she said it's in fair condition. So when the thing spun around, I said, you know, your listing said it was no cracks, no bows. I said, but this thing is a spinner. She goes, well, I checked it. It didn't move in the back. I said, well, you got to do it on a flat surface. And the table that we did it on out front was a flat surface. And I said to her, I said, well, you know, quite honestly, I bought this thinking it was going to sit flat because I'm going to restore it to sell it. And I said, I don't know if I really want this. I said, maybe you could take a few bucks off since I did drive all the way out here. So I was thinking like $5 off, but I didn't say anything. So she said, how much were you wanting off? I said, I don't know. Why don't you make me an offer? She said, I'll take $4 off. I said, okay, that's fine. She goes, well, I did test it. And I said, I understand that, but you need to do it on a flat surface. I said, because that's what a stovetop is going to be. If it's glass, it's going to be a flat surface. So at any rate, I was able to get $4 off. I paid with the buy. There's always usually a buyer's commission on auctions, and in this case, it was 10%. It was $19.80 with the buyer's. I paid cash, and she took $4 off, so I paid under $16 for the 3 of these, which was well worth it to me. I can still sell them. Right now, I've got nothing else to do, so I wasn't exactly real picky. Now, if I had a bunch of Griswolds in my light tank, I probably would have either asked her to take more off or passed. But I said, that's fine, I'll because I want to be able to bid with them in the future, so I didn't want to create too much of a stink. I just said, thank you, and I said, in the future, just remember, test it on a flat surface. And I said, if I have any questions in the future, I will send a message before I bid on the lot. And I would recommend to anybody, if you see anything like that when you're bidding on an online auction, that you want to ask them the true condition. If you have any questions, I always say, is there serious pitting or rust? Usually you can see it in the pictures. Now, I want to ask if there's any cracks. Does it sit flat? Does it spin when you push the handle? That's what you want to ask. And in this situation, I didn't, because they said no cracks or bows. So that means that if there's no cracks or bows, then you're going to assume it's going to sit flat. Well, what's a bow to one person might not be to another. So if you're unsure, always message the auction site or the seller at the auction site and ask the condition before you bid, because usually it's sold as is and you can't back out of it. So it depends on the auction site and how they operate. This one's pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to show you the 2 listings that I referred to, but these are going to go into a live bath and I'm going to restore them. So I wanted to show you these before I before I throw them into the lye bath. All right, I will be back with the listings and show you those. Hey guys, Lady Liberty Stacker here. I am back. Wanted to show you what the listing looked like for this lot of pans you just saw that I bid on. And we see here that the winning bid was $18 for all three of these, plus the buyer's premium. There were 12 bids and I won the auction. So at any rate, before we go into this one, the reason why I bid on these was not for this pan here, but was for these two pans here, but it was because of my experience with this particular auction house and the seller on this site. So I'll come back to this in a minute. We'll take a look at the first one I won. This was back in September. There is a griddle, an unmarked griddle that we can't tell. We don't know if it's marked or not, but it was an unmarked griddle and a skillet. It looked like a fairly decent size, like an 8 or a 9. It's hard to tell in the pictures. There were a lot of bids on this one. I won this. And the first tip I want to tell you at all is we're going to take a look at the listing itself. We're going to come down and look at the description. You can tell it starts on September 2nd and ended on September the 9th. It's a griddle, is a 9-inch griddle, and the pan is 10.25 inches wide and 2 inches deep. So that's about a number 8, which is similar to the Stargazer I just got, a number 8. But that's what the sizes are. The condition says fair, not sure if usable. And I thought, because in a picture you really can't see. Go ahead and click on it. You really can't see what the condition. You can see it's fairly decent condition, but you don't know if there's any cracks. You don't know if there's any wobble or spin when you push the handle. You don't know that. You don't know if there's any fire damage. You can't see underneath, but you can in the second photo. That is rust. That's not fire damage. Fire damage is bright red, and it's kind of scaly looking. Rust is just what it is. It's orangish color rust. A lot of scratches on this one on the back, but we definitely know what it is. It's a large logo, large black logo, EPU, Erie, PA, USA. Number 8 Griswold skillet, cast iron skillet. This is an early handle, and these were made from 1839 to 1844. All of these large black logos, for the most part, were made earlier on. They have some with the heat ring. They're a little bit more valuable than these, but these still carry quite a premium on them. This one turned out being I think this was a BS&R, Red Mountain series, from my research, based on what it looks like on back, and I would put in unmarked 9-inch griddle, and you see what looks like that on your pictures. That way you kind of know what you're bidding on, if you want it or not, or if you sell online, if you want to flip it or not, and you put a price point to it. So I figured, well, this is a chance to pick up both of these. I was mainly going for this one, but I didn't know with, let's go back down to the condition. So I messaged the seller and I said, what do you mean not usable? Is there any significant damage, like cracks, like severe warp? Does it spin when the handle is pushed? That kind of thing. And she wrote back to me and said, no, they're really good condition. You just can't use them the way they are. And I said, that's perfect. I like to restore these old cast iron skillets. So she said, good luck. So I bid on them. As you can see, I won them by $28. I mean, for $28 for a Griswold is a steal. Not to mention, this one kind of was for free. But I made money on both of these. I sold them, and I believe I can't remember what I sold them for. I know it went for the going rate, a little bit more because of my restoration techniques, but I did quite well on that. Ended up paying about $30 with the buyer's premium on this. So because I had success with this one, I wanted to go ahead and bid on the next one that I first told you about. And this is what I saw. Let's go down here. It says 3 well-seasoned cast iron pans. Really not well-seasoned because, well, maybe they're well-seasoned, but they have all kinds of rust and crud. They need stripped. So the description on this one's a little bit different, but it did say, I didn't care about that, but it said fair, no bowing or cracking. So I didn't bother messaging them, because bowing, you would think it sits flat. You would think it's not going to spin, and cracking, that is just what it means, no cracking. So I went ahead and bid. On this one, there were 12 bids. I'll tell you what I was looking at. This is the one picture. It shows you all three of them. Shows you the back of the first one. We knew it was a Taiwan number 3. And you can see the upside down A. This casting isn't as good because of the handle, as I mentioned before. Then we have this inset heat ring with the ribbing that goes all the way to the wall, and like a 2-dimensional here, or almost 3-dimensional teardrop. And that is a characteristic of BS&R, Birmingham Stove and Range, out of Alabama. And then you have your inset heat ring, and you have the 7, and you have another number or letter there, which is a little offsides. And that indicates to me that it's an early Red Mountain series. So that is a bit of a collectible one. It's going to be a little bit less because of the spin or movement, which I'll get to how I dealt with that in a minute. But I didn't know that at the time. I assumed it was fine, and I couldn't wait to get a number 7. You don't see them too often. And then this is a number 10, and up here it looks like to be made in USA. And if it's a number 10, as you saw from my video, it's 12.5 inches. This is also a BS&R. The handle is the same. The pour spouts aren't quite as defined. It's because they use more machining techniques later on. It's referred to as a Century series. And this was made in the 1960s, but still vintage. And because of the size and the condition, it should be a good seller. It's more of a meat and potatoes type of skillet versus a number 10 Griswold, for example. I just sold one of those. It was a large slant logo. I can show that in a future video. It sold for $300 plus shipping, and I got to get it ready to send out, but did real well with that one. This one is well under $100. I couldn't tell you. I have to look up the comps. I try to price them fairly for the condition. But at any rate, that's what I was going for. So anyway, back to this. When I went to pick them up, I tested all of them. I checked for cracks. I pushed the handle to see if they spun on the flat tabletop where I was going to pay for the items. And this one didn't spin. This one didn't spin, but this one did, as you saw in the first part of my video. So I said to her, I said, gee, you said no bows. That means they shouldn't be spinning. And she goes, oh, I can see that. And I said, well, I was really hoping it didn't spin because it's going to be harder to sell. That's what I told her. She goes, I said, can you maybe take a few bucks off? I mean, I don't know. That's not what I thought I was bidding on. And they will work with you. I didn't want to make that big of a deal, but I wanted to let her know that spinning is not cool. It's just not. So she goes, well, how much were you thinking? And I didn't want to insult her, so I had her make the first offer. I said, well, you tell me. She said, I'll take $4 off. I said, that's fine. I can do that. So she did. I ended up getting all 3 of these, including the buyer's premium, for a little over $15. So that's really not bad. I can still make money on them, and it gives me something to do because I have no cast iron in production at all. I only have a few pieces left. I've sold 8 pieces within the last week. Since Monday, I've sold 8 pieces. So the stuff is flying off the shelf. This time of year is popular because people are probably buying them for gifts, either for themselves or for other people. But at any rate, I just wanted to kind of give you tips on the auctions so this doesn't get too long. Wait till the last minute to bid. I waited on the last minute to bid on this one because if you bid too early, you generate too much excitement. You bring in emotion, and then once people get emotional about something, all reason goes out the window, and then you end up paying too much for something. I just try to think, gee, what do I want to pay? Sometimes I'll see how the auction's going, and if I really want it, I might think about a higher bid. And maybe, I think I bid this one up one time, and then I said, that's it, no more. And as it turns out, I won the auction. Nobody else bid. I waited to the very last minute on this one. There was another auction that I bid too early and lost the item because it just went beyond my window of what I was going to pay. So think about that, guys, on when you're bidding. So wait till the last minute. Know your bottom line, the max you're willing to bid. Message the seller ahead of time if there's any questions of flaws or anything like that. and inspect the items when you go pick them up. And that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you. But at this time of the year, sometimes the only way to get cast iron is by auction and doing it this way. All right, that's about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Give me a thumb up if you like to see more videos like this. Leave a question or comment below, and go make it a great day. Thanks for watching.